Roe v. Wade is out. The Supreme Court just overruled it 5-3 with one dude concurring in judgment, whatever that means. Is that just him being like, you guys vote, whatever happens, happens? Imagine getting appointed to the Supreme Court just to abstain from making decisions. Back in 2005, then President George Bush was like, this is the guy. You gotta get this guy on the court so he can sit there and watch. He's a Republican appointee who said he would stop just short of overturning the cases. But if he had flipped, it still would have been 5-4, and Republicans would probably just be madder at him for no apparent gain. I wonder if concurring in judgment just means I secretly agree with the other side, but I'm just gonna go stand in the corner, please don't hate me. To clarify, all this immediately does is get rid of federal abortion protections, which means that it's now up to each state individually whether or not they want to protect abortion rights, which a lot of them will still obviously do. But the ones who never wanted to probably aren't gonna anymore. And isn't that like a will of the people thing? If you live in a red state, you're more likely to be red, or it wouldn't be a red state. So if the majority of the people in red states are electing the politicians that are at least hypothetically serving their interests, and they want to get rid of abortion, isn't that kind of up to them? It's not even about being pro-life or pro-choice at that point, it's just states' rights and majority rules. If the majority of a very large group of people in a very large place want a thing to happen, maybe it should happen? I think we used to call that democracy, lol. It turns out some states had trigger bans in place so that in the event of Roe ever going kaput, abortion would be frame one outlawed. That's gotta suck if you're halfway through the procedure. Oh man, you couldn't get your pregnancy fully terminated, now you're stuck raising the next Peter Dinklage. But the concept of trigger bans is so to the point of certain states just being so against certain federal laws they were forced to abide by that once those restrictions are lifted, they immediately implement their own restrictions. Oops. My opinions on abortion have fluctuated over the years, but my main thing is that I don't like arguments I think are bad. You can think what you want, but if you use an argument that I think is bad, then I don't like it, and you should stick to the good ones. For example, I've already talked about how framing the abortion argument as a men versus women thing is statistically false, since women are the majority of both the pro- and anti-abortion movements. They're leading the charge on both sides. Everyone who says men should stay out of the abortion debate would also probably enjoy it if half the women did too, so I don't respect that mindset at all. One of the justices who voted to get rid of Roe v. Wade was a woman. Still is, actually. But that's just internalized misogyny at work, right? People talk about abortion restrictions being anti-women in general, but you sure got a lot of women to convince of that. Is taking away a woman's right inherently anti-women, no matter the case? What about when we made murder illegal? Was that anti-human? We took away people's right to murder each other, after all. Humans had less freedom as a result of that. But I think most people would agree it was the right thing to do, and certainly the women who are anti-abortion would celebrate that right being stripped away. But then you may go, well, it's about the right to choose. Pro-choice rights don't infringe on pro-lifers' rights, but pro-lifers wanted restrictions infringe on pro-choice rights. To which I would say that is technically correct. But then from a pro-lifer's perspective, they're trying to stop babies from getting murdered, which is a bit more important to them than you feeling like you have the freedom to dismember them in the womb. So I don't know, man, maybe that's why this issue has been so heated forever. It's kind of complicated. One thing that's going around now, though, is the idea that the justices who voted to overturn Roe v. Wade lied during their confirmation hearings, in which they said various statements to the effect of it being settled law or an important precedent. So Twitter's been posting memes of quotes of theirs during their respective hearings, and dude, one of them is literally 16 years ago of the guy just saying Roe v. Wade is an important precedent of the Supreme Court. And the tweet is like, these liars who lied, but you can still overturn important things. He didn't say he wouldn't do it, at least not in that quote, maybe there's others. But what's the statute of limitations on that anyway? It took 16 years for the supposed lie to come into effect. When can you be like, you know what, I changed my mind, how about that? In fact, most of them seem to have chosen their words very carefully in order to leave the window open for later. If something's settled, you can always just unsettle it, especially after enough time has passed and the landscape's changed, if it has. There's actually no question that Roe v. Wade is an important precedent given how much is at stake with it no longer being there, but if you still want to get rid of it, then it being important isn't really a deterrent, you know? It's funny how everyone hates slippery slope arguments until it's their turn. People are talking about how this landmark decision could pave the way for gay marriage being undone. I personally don't see much of a connection in terms of Republicans' outward feelings on the matter. Like with abortion, every Republican will scream from the highest mountaintop, ban abortion! Abortion is murder! Guess my views on abortion! Oh wait, you don't have to, I've been telling you every single day. But they're much quieter about gay marriage, which is kind of weird. because that wouldn't be any more contentious of a topic to liberals. If you hate abortion and gay marriage, they're gonna draw you a similar amount of ire. Remember when Obama ran for president like 14 years ago and blatantly was just like, yeah, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman. And then halfway through the campaign, they decided he probably shouldn't say that, so he was like, LOL, JK. That dude still probably doesn't like gay marriage. You can't just undo that on a whim. Maybe he's cool with it now, a decade later, but like he was definitely not cool with it in the beginning, even after he started saying he was cool with it. I just think it's neat how politicians of all demographics can just whimsically betray their own values if it'll boost their polls a little. The only way I can see them undoing gay marriage is if it becomes an antiquated term in the far future when everyone's trans. In response to the destruction of Roe v. Wade, some for-profit companies are coming out with statements, as companies love to do when sales have dipped. Dick's Sporting Goods has come out and said they will pay upwards of $4,000 in expenses to any employees who need to travel out of state to get an abortion. Hear that, ladies? He gets to go in raw and you get a vacation. Abortion is not a vacation. If you're staying in a Motel 6 and you don't have to work, it's a vacation, okay? I don't make the rules. Sip on a margarita by the hotel pool, not like you have to worry about fetal alcohol syndrome. Sony Santa Monica, the game studio working on God of War Ragnarok, released a statement saying they will support their team members in receiving access to the care they need. Pretty vague, easily weasel-outable. I'll just be disappointed if in the credits of their next game, under the developer babies section, they don't add a list of all the employees who got abortions. If it's really something to celebrate like some people claim, I don't see why you wouldn't flex on some bitches with your reproductive freedom. Actually, they should just put what the names of the aborted fetuses would have been in the same section as the born babies, and then just let you guess which ones made it. Make it a fun little quiz, and then reveal the answers at the end by putting a skull emoji next to the aborted names. And would it be too much to ask for a kill cam? Well, that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino. Watch all my videos in the waiting room of your local abortion clinic while you still can, and I'll see you guys next time.